Coming up, as the UK suffers the economic and cultural consequences of the failed Brexit project, we heard this week that the rich and powerful are spending a proportion of their wealth to effectively buy EU citizenship by investing millions of euros in certain EU member countries. As always in Tory Britain, it's one rule for us and another rule for them. Thanks to Brexit, most of us without the necessary ancestry have had our rights to live, work and retire in 27 other countries taken away from us. But if you're rich and powerful, it's not a problem. Just invest some of your spare change within the EU and you've bought yourself back all those freedom of movement rights that the Brexit referendum took away from most of us. But perhaps even more importantly, the post-Brexit brain drain is now next level. Stay tuned. I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, subscribe, and above all, share a link to this video with your social media contacts. Guy Verhofstadt, the European Parliament's Brexit coordinator during the withdrawal negotiations, commented in the Independent newspaper, "Conservative Party donors backing Brexit, but at the same time seeking EU citizenship via Cyprus. Pardon my French, but ordinary British citizens are being screwed over by their elite." When Brexit voters thought they were sticking it to the man, it's now obvious that they were achieving the exact opposite. And the news agency Reuters have backed up this claim by Guy Verhofstadt, quoting Cypriot government documents which show that Tory donors, including Alan Howard, a top hedge fund manager, and Jeremy Isaacs, a former Lehman Brothers chief, have applied for citizenship of this EU member country, and that the Cypriot Interior Ministry approved these applications. Now, if these names aren't familiar to you, you might like to know that, according to the Electoral Commission, Alan Howard has donated at least £129,000 to the Tories, while Jeremy Isaacs, not the actor, has stumped up at least £626,500 to the party. And according to Reuters, these are just two of many big Tory donors who've applied for EU member country passports to regain their post-Brexit freedom of movement within the EU. Even the Daily Tory Graph picked up on the story this week with the headline, "High net worth Brits are paying thousands for EU citizenship post-Brexit," adding that there has been an untold increase in the number of wealthy Brits paying for golden visas and citizenships within the European Union. On their corporate website, the top expat advice firm, Henley & Partners, claim that they are the global leader in residence and citizenship by investment. They say they've received unprecedented demand for so-called golden visas and citizenships in EU countries like Malta, Latvia, Greece, Austria and Portugal, with new client numbers skyrocketing by 250% in the second quarter of 2023. An increase that Stuart Wakeling, the managing partner at Henley, explains by saying, "We've got more British clients than ever before. We have seen an untold increase in demand from Brits because they are not happy about being outside the EU." He added, "There are big drivers for millionaires to move. Tax is always going to be one of them." Tax. A reason why the rich and powerful may have wanted a Brexit in the first place, to avoid an imminent EU clampdown on offshore tax-free income, which may have been a motivation for the wealthy elite to convince a gullible public to vote against their own interests by using the twin tools of xenophobia and false promises of additional funds for the NHS. The net outflow of high net worth citizens from the UK, those people who are classed as having investable assets of $1 million or more, surged to 4,200 in 2017, the year following the Brexit referendum. The initial surge then died down after 2017, but now the figure is climbing again to 3,200 last year, beating Russia's 3,000 and making the UK the third biggest loser of millionaires globally after China and India, and that's according to Henley's own data. As the United Kingdom continues its slide into the icy depths of international isolation after hitting the Brexit iceberg, those with sufficient funds are deserting the sinking ship. And 3,200 of those with over $1 million surplus dollars to invest is certainly a hit to the UK economy. But a quick question for you. How many British passport holders in total emigrated in 2022, do you think? Is it A, 5,570, B, 55,700, or C, 557,000? I was astonished to find out that the answer is actually C. Well north of 500,000 Brits escaped Brexit Island last year for good, according to the government's own figures. This figure included 1. Those 3,200 rich enough to stump up the size of investment in another country that offers citizenship in return for such investment. And then 2, those making use of their family ties and heredity to successfully apply for citizenship of an EU member country and moving there. And 3, another large group of people that could be characterised as being a post-Brexit brain drain. Highly educated and trained individuals with skills that are in high demand overseas in countries with lower taxation on earned income and where they're willing to reward such skills better than the skint Tory UK. The latest round of pay awards that Rishi Sunak has acquiesced to in the public sector are around 6%, and workers across the UK economy are averaging pay increases right now of 7.3%. But these so-called pay rises are in reality real terms pay cuts, as inflation is currently running at 8.7%. And these are just the latest real terms pay cuts, after 13 years of similar real terms pay cuts. As Sunak's government this week promised further investment in training doctors and other health professionals, it's a clear case of turning the taps on while leaving the plug out of the bath. 13 years of real terms pay cuts, plus a UK tax regime that taxes earned income more harshly than unearned income, is seeing an exodus of our highly skilled professionals, scientists and technicians looking for a better life overseas. The UK invests billions of pounds in training these people, only to see the investment walk out the door due to the austerity politics inflicted on us by a series of Conservative governments. Here's a quick list of just some of the occupations that left these shores just last year for a better life either in the EU or in Australia and New Zealand, the US and Canada. These are highly skilled and educated individuals whose future contribution to the UK economy has been sacrificed at the altar of Brexit, and where there will be no return on investment for the UK due to the destructive tax and spending policies of the Tories. Here goes. Primary school teachers, scientists, doctors, nurses, programmers, software engineers, security specialists, electricians, care workers for the aged and disabled, chartered surveyors, civil engineers, air conditioning engineers, mechanics, anaesthetists, psychologists, radiologists, medical laboratory workers, chemical engineers, telecoms engineers, procurement managers, panel beaters, plastics technicians, beekeepers, winemakers, vets, horse jockeys and trainers, surgeons, midwives, civil engineers, accountants, chefs, mechanics, agricultural and forestry professionals, truck drivers, IT professionals, electricians, plumbers, bricklayers, carpenters. These are all skills that are in short supply globally and that attract far better paying conditions overseas than those now found on Brexit Island. How far has this country fallen over the last 13 years? Those Brits without the necessary wealth, family connections or skills in short supply abroad, like me for example, and the majority of you watching this video probably, well, we are about to face even more restrictions on our ability to live in, work in or even visit countries within the EU. From next year, Brits visiting the EU on a UK passport must pay for the privilege of using the European Travel Information and Authorisation System. We'll have to buy a permit under the system, which still only allows stays of up to 90 days within any 180-day period. No wonder high net worth British nationals are paying hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds to become EU citizens again so they can dispense with this restriction. But that's not their only motivation. With the tax burden in the UK now the highest for decades, many higher earners are attracted by lower income tax rates overseas. Because of Rishi Sunak's fiscal policies, 1 in 5 UK citizens can look forward to being caught by the higher rate tax threshold between now and 2027, paying a marginal rate of 40% on earnings just north of 50 grand, up to 125 grand or so. Now, fine, I'm all for taxing the better off, but I'm not comfortable with the fact that this Tory administration taxes earned income a damn sight harder than unearned income such as capital gains and dividends. This explains a lot of the motivation for these professional salaried emigres from the UK. Low-tax countries like Malta, with a top income tax rate of 35%, offer citizenship for applicants prepared to invest as little as €738,000, and its citizenship scheme has been one of the most applied to from Brits this year. That's according to Henley again. You can see why that would be attractive to a higher rate income taxpayer with sufficient funds. But you don't even need that much capital. If you're to invest in Greek real estate, for example, to the tune of €250,000, that's less than the average house price in the UK, then that would grant you residence and visa-free travel within the EU's Schengen area and the right to apply for Greek citizenship after 6 years of residence. €250,000 still too rich for your blood? Well, if you were to invest a minimum of €60,000 in Latvia, then you can enjoy exactly the same benefits with a pathway to citizenship after 10 years of residence. Now, whatever you might think about this morally, the fact is that wealthier UK citizens, in their hundreds of thousands, are making the decision to leave this country for what they see as a better life elsewhere. And don't just listen to me. Professor Trevor Williams, former chief economist at Lloyds Bank Commercial, said, "Whatever one may think about the merits of Brexit, this cohort is voting with its feet. Brexit has made the UK less hospitable and welcoming to high net worth individuals. Not only that, but Brexit has made it harder for all of us to move between the UK and EU countries. So you can understand that if they have the financial means to do it, why wouldn't they remove these barriers for themselves and for their families? But these individuals leaving also diminish investment in the UK economy." Professor Trevor Williams again. "Evidence shows that the UK's share of inward investment into Europe has declined since it left the EU, with Germany and France benefiting." On the subject of investment into the post-Brexit UK, the Daily Telegraph quotes Sunita Singh Dalal, a partner at Dubai-based law firm Harani and Partners, who says, "Unprecedented political volatility, coupled with rising debt, a dysfunctional healthcare system, high crime rates, and a general sense of lingering malaise has clearly tarnished the lustre of London."
Welcome to the Brexit, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.